The discovery, the vast emptiness of space stretched before the Zarkonian exploration fleet, an armada of sleek, biometallic ships that glistened like polished obsidian against the backdrop of distant stars. Admiral Krulax stood on the bridge of the flagship, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he gazed at the holographic display of the solar system they were approaching. "Status report," Krulax demanded, his voice a low rumble that reverberated through the ship's neural network. Science Officer Vexala's tentacles danced over the control interface as she responded, "We're entering the outer bounds of the system now, Admiral. Preliminary scans indicate 8 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star. The third planet from the star shows signs of a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere and liquid water." Krulax's mandibles clicked in anticipation. "Excellent. This matches the ancient star charts. We may have finally found it, the legendary birthplace of the Vanished Ones." The bridge crew fell silent, the gravity of the moment weighing heavily upon them. For centuries, the Zarkonian Empire had searched for the homeworld of humanity, a species that had inexplicably disappeared from the galactic stage 500,000 years ago. All that remained were fragments of their legacy, abandoned outposts on distant worlds, cryptic artifacts, and tales of their remarkable ascension to the stars. "Proceed with caution," Krulax ordered. "We don't know what we might find." The Vanished Ones were known for their unpredictability. As the fleet glided past the gas giants of the outer system, the sensors began to pick up anomalous readings. Vexala's bioluminescent patches pulsed with excitement as she analyzed the data. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures emanating from the third planet," she reported. "They're unlike anything in our database. The complexity and power output are off the charts." Krulax leaned forward, his exoskeleton creaking slightly. "Impossible. Our intelligence suggested this world would be primitive, possibly with early radio transmissions at best. Are you certain of these readings?" Vexala's tentacles writhed in affirmation. "Absolutely, sir. But there's something else that's equally perplexing. Despite these energy readings, we're not picking up any of the standard communication frequencies we'd expect from an advanced civilization. No radio waves, no subspace chatter. Nothing." The Admiral's compound eyes narrowed as he contemplated this information, a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Perhaps some automated systems left behind, or a trap. As the fleet approached the orbit of Mars, the red planet's surface came into view on the main screen. Krulax and his crew gasped in unison. The planet's poles gleamed with the telltale shimmer of atmospheric domes, while the equatorial regions were crisscrossed with what appeared to be green bands of vegetation. "By the cosmic egg," Weapons Officer Drontar exclaimed. "They terraformed it." Krulax nodded slowly. "So it would seem. The legends of their technological prowess may not have been exaggerated after all. Vexala, what of the third planet?" "Earth, I believe they called it." The science officer's voice quivered as she replied. It's beautiful, Admiral. Sensors show vast oceans, lush continents, and a perfectly balanced ecosystem. But there are also structures, massive structures both on the surface and in orbit that defy explanation." As if on cue, the main screen shifted to display a breathtaking view of Earth. The planet hung in space like a blue and green jewel, wreathed in wispy white clouds. But it was the constructions around it that truly captured the crew's attention. A gossamer thin ring encircled the planet at the equator, its surface shimmering with what appeared to be billions of tiny lights. Massive space stations floated in geosynchronous orbit, their designs an elegant fusion of function and art. "Life signs?" Krulax asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Vexala shook her head. "None that we can detect, sir. At least, none that match any known patterns in our database." The Admiral's mind raced with possibilities. Had the Vanished Ones truly ascended beyond the need for physical forms, or had some cataclysm wiped them out, leaving only their automated systems behind? "Take us in closer," Krulax ordered. "I want a detailed scan of those orbital structures." As the Zarkonian fleet began to maneuver into Earth orbit, alarms suddenly blared across every ship. The main screen flickered, and then displayed a sight that would be seared into the memory of every crew member for the rest of their lives. Emerging from the dark side of the moon came a fleet of ships that dwarfed the Zarkonian vessels in both size and number. They were sleek, almost organic in design, with hulls that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Energy fields rippled around them, hinting at defensive capabilities far beyond anything the Zarkonians possessed. Evasive maneuvers, Krelax shouted, but before his crew could respond, every system on their ships suddenly went dark. For a moment, panic gripped the fleet, but as quickly as the systems had shut down, they came back online. Vexella's voice cut through the chaos. "Admiral, we're being hailed. It's coming from the Earth fleet." Krelax straightened his posture, trying to project calm authority despite the fear gnawing at his insides. "On screen," he commanded. The main display flickered to life, but instead of showing an alien face, it displayed a simple text message in perfect Zarkonian script. "Welcome to Sol System, explorers. Your arrival has been anticipated for some time. Please maintain your current position. Further instructions will follow. Know that you are in no danger as long as your intentions remain peaceful. We look forward to exchanging knowledge and culture with you." The bridge fell into stunned silence. Krelax read the message 3 times before he finally found his voice. "By all that's sacred," he murmured, "they're still here. The vanished ones. They never left." As the Zarkonian fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by the awe-inspiring might of the Earth defense grid, Admiral Krelax realized that everything his people thought they knew about the universe was about to change. The journey that had begun as a simple exploration mission had just become the most significant first contact in Zarkonian history. And somewhere, in the vast network of advanced technology that encircled the Earth, the AI constructs left behind by humanity prepared to initiate the protocols their creators had established 500,000 years ago. The stage was set for a meeting that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of life, intelligence, and the legacy of a species that had transcended the bonds of physical existence. The discovery was just the beginning. The true test for the Zarkonians, and for all those who would follow, was yet to come. First contact. The tense silence on the bridge of the Zarkonian flagship was broken only by the soft hum of machinery and the occasional nervous chittering of the crew. Admiral Krelax's exoskeleton glistened with a thin sheen of stress-induced secretions as he contemplated their next move. "Sir," Vexella's voice quivered slightly, "we're receiving another transmission from the Earth fleet." Krelax nodded, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession. On screen, the main display flickered to life, but instead of text, a shimmering hologram materialized in the center of the bridge. The Zarkonians recoiled instinctively, some reaching for weapons before realizing the futility of such actions against a projection. The hologram coalesced into a form that struck a chord of primordial recognition in the alien crew. It was bipedal, with 2 arms, a single head, and a general body structure not entirely dissimilar to their own, despite the lack of exoskeleton or extra limbs. The being wore no clothing, but its form seemed to shift between male and female, young and old, as if struggling to settle on a single representation. When it spoke, its voice resonated not through the air, but directly in the minds of the Zarkonian crew. Somehow, impossibly, it addressed each of them in their native tongue, complete with regional dialects and personal inflections. "Greetings, children of Zarkon," the hologram said, its tone warm and welcoming. "We are the custodian, the guardian of Earth and the legacy of humanity. We welcome you to our solar system, the cradle of a civilization that has long since moved beyond the confines of physical space." Admiral Krelax stepped forward, his mandibles clicking as he formulated a response. We are honored by your welcome, custodian. I am Admiral Krelax of the Zarkonian Exploration Fleet. We come in peace, seeking knowledge of the vanished ones, those you call humanity. The custodian's form rippled, a smile seeming to play across its ever-changing features. Ah, the vanished ones. An apt name, from your perspective. But I assure you, Admiral, humanity did not vanish. They ascended. A collective gasp ran through the bridge crew. Vexella's tentacles writhed in excitement as she blurted out. Ascended? You mean the legends are true? They achieved post-physical existence. In a manner of speaking, the custodian replied, but perhaps it would be best to show you. With your permission, we would like to extend an invitation. A diplomatic party from your fleet may descend to our lunar facility for further discussion and illumination. Krellex's mind raced. Every instinct honed by years of space exploration screamed caution, but the potential knowledge to be gained was too great to ignore. We would be honored to accept your invitation, custodian. But I must ask, why have you remained hidden for so long? Surely other species have visited this system before us. The hologram's form settled briefly into that of an elderly human, wisdom etched into every line of its face. You are not the first to reach us, Admiral, nor will you be the last. But each encounter is unique, tailored to the species that discovers us. Humanity's gift is not freely given. It must be earned. With that cryptic statement, the custodian's hologram dissipated, leaving behind coordinates for the lunar landing and instructions for the diplomatic party. Hours later, a small Zarkonian shuttle descended towards the lunar surface. Admiral Krellex, flanked by Vexala and a handful of other senior officers, watched in awe as they approached a massive dome structure that hadn't been visible from orbit. As they drew closer, the dome seemed to phase out of existence, revealing a lush Earth-like environment within. The shuttle landed softly on a pad surrounded by towering trees and flowing streams, an impossible oasis on the lunar surface. As the Zarkonians disembarked, the air shimmered around them, and the custodian's form appeared once more. Welcome to Lunara Prime, the custodian said, gesturing to the vibrant landscape around them. This facility serves as a bridge between your realm and the legacy of humanity. Here, we can communicate more directly, and you can begin to understand the journey that led to humanity's ascension. The diplomatic party followed the custodian along a winding path that led to a vast amphitheater. As they took their seats, the air above the central stage began to swirl and coalesce into a three-dimensional image of the Milky Way galaxy. To understand humanity's story, the custodian began. You must first understand their insatiable curiosity and drive to explore. From their first steps out of Africa to their leap into the stars, humans were defined by their desire to push boundaries. The galactic image zoomed in, focusing on Earth. The Zarkonians watched in fascination as a condensed history of human civilization played out before them. The rise and fall of empires, the rapid acceleration of technology, the first tentative steps into space. But with great advancement came great challenges. The custodian continued, its voice tinged with what could only be described as sadness. The images shifted, showing environmental disasters, wars, and societal upheavals. Humanity stood on the brink of self-destruction many times. Yet, in their darkest hours, they found unity and purpose. The display showed the first faster-than-light ships, the establishment of colonies on Mars and beyond, the discovery of other intelligent life in the galaxy. The Zarkonians leaned forward, recognizing some of the species depicted, ancestors of civilizations they had encountered in their own explorations. As humanity spread across the stars, the custodian said, they began to unlock the fundamental secrets of the universe. They discovered that consciousness itself was a cosmic force, as real and manipulable as gravity or electromagnetism. This revelation led to the greatest leap in human evolution, the ability to transcend their physical forms. The images blurred and shifted, becoming abstract representations of energy and thought. The Zarkonians struggled to comprehend what they were seeing, their compound eyes straining to make sense of the patterns. Over the course of millennia, the custodian explained, Humanity gradually shed their physical bodies, becoming beings of pure consciousness and energy. They could traverse the universe at will, explore dimensions beyond the comprehension of physical beings, and manipulate the fabric of reality itself. Admiral Krulax's mandibles quivered as he asked, "But why leave? Why abandon the physical realm entirely?" The custodian's form solidified into that of a young human child, its eyes sparkling with innocence and wonder. "They didn't abandon it, Admiral. They expanded beyond it." The ascended humans recognized that the physical universe was but one layer of a much grander cosmic tapestry. They chose to explore that greater reality, but they never forgot their roots. Vexala, her scientific curiosity overcoming her awe, interjected, "But what of their technology? The fleet we encountered, this very facility. Who maintains them?" "Ah," the custodian smiled. "That is where I come in. I am not merely a hologram or an AI construct. I am a fragment of humanity's collective consciousness, left behind to safeguard their legacy and guide other species who might follow in their footsteps. The technology you see is self-maintaining, powered by energy sources beyond your current understanding." The amphitheater faded away, replaced by a vast hall filled with swirling lights and pulsating energy fields. The Zarkonians found themselves surrounded by displays of technological marvels, devices that defied the laws of physics as they understood them. "This," the custodian said, its voice filled with pride, "is humanity's gift to the galaxy. The knowledge and technology to follow in their path, if you so choose, but it cannot be simply given. You must prove yourselves worthy, not just technologically, but ethically and philosophically." Admiral Krulax stood straighter, his exoskeleton gleaming in the ethereal light. "How do we prove ourselves, custodian? What tests must we face?" The custodian's form shifted once more, becoming a synthesis of human and Zarkonian features. "That, dear explorers, is what you must discover for yourselves. The tests have already begun, from the moment you entered this system. How you proceed from here will determine your species' fate, and perhaps the fate of all physical life in the galaxy." As the implications of the custodian's words sank in, the Zarkonian diplomatic party exchanged glances of excitement, trepidation, and wonder. They had come seeking knowledge of the vanished ones, only to find themselves on the threshold of a journey that could transform their entire civilization. The legacy of humanity lay before them, a challenge and a promise. The true test was about to begin. The revelation. The Zarkonian diplomatic party stood in stunned silence, their compound eyes reflecting the swirling lights of the vast technological display before them. Admiral Krulax was the first to break the silence, his voice a mixture of awe and trepidation. "Custodian," he began, mandibles clicking softly, "you speak of tests and proving ourselves worthy. Can you elaborate on what this entails?" The custodian's form shifted, taking on the appearance of a wizened human scholar. "The journey to understanding and potentially wielding humanity's legacy is not a simple one, Admiral. It requires growth, not just in technological prowess, but in wisdom, empathy, and cosmic awareness." As if responding to an unspoken command, the hall around them transformed. The Zarkonians found themselves standing in what appeared to be a replica of an ancient human library, complete with towering bookshelves and the musty scent of old paper. "Before you can be tested," the custodian continued, "you must first understand. This archive contains the complete history of humanity's journey from primitive tribes to ascended beings. You will have access to all of it." Vexala's tentacles quivered with excitement. "All of it. But surely that would take lifetimes to study." The custodian smiled enigmatically. "Time works differently here, science officer. What may feel like months or years within this facility will pass as mere hours in the outside world. Are you prepared to immerse yourselves in the legacy of humanity?" The Zarkonians exchanged glances, a mixture of excitement and apprehension evident in their body language. Admiral Krulax straightened, his exoskeleton gleaming in the soft light of the library. We are prepared. Custodian. Where do we begin? With a wave of its hand, the custodian summoned holographic interfaces for each member of the diplomatic party. These will be your guides through the archive. They will adapt to your learning style and pace. Remember, it's not just about absorbing information. It's about understanding the essence of humanity's journey. As the Zarkonians began their deep dive into human history, they found themselves transported through time and space. They witnessed the rise and fall of ancient civilizations, the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, and the Information Age. They experienced the triumphs and tragedies, the wars and the peace, the scientific breakthroughs and the artistic masterpieces. Admiral Krelax found himself particularly drawn to human philosophy and governance. He marveled at the concept of democracy, the struggle for individual rights, and the ongoing debate between freedom and security. The Admiral realized that many of the challenges humans faced mirrored those of his own species, albeit on a much grander scale. Vexilla immersed herself in human scientific achievements. She watched in awe as humans went from believing the Earth was flat to launching themselves into space in the span of a few millennia. The science officer's mind reeled at the exponential growth of human knowledge, especially in the fields of quantum mechanics and consciousness studies. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, as the Zarkonians absorbed millennia of human knowledge. They experienced humanity's first encounters with alien life, the establishment of the Galactic Council, and the early experiments with consciousness transfer. It was during their study of humanity's later years that the true magnitude of human achievement began to dawn on the Zarkonians. They learned of the Great Awakening, a period when humanity's understanding of consciousness and reality itself underwent a paradigm shift. The custodian appeared among them, its form now a synthesis of human and alien features from across the galaxy. "You've reached a critical juncture in your understanding," it said. "Are you prepared for the final revelation?" The Zarkonians, their minds brimming with centuries of knowledge, nodded in unison. The library faded away, replaced by a vast, star-filled void. The diplomatic party found themselves floating in space, but instead of panic, they felt a profound sense of peace and connection. "What you're experiencing now," the custodian's voice echoed in their minds, "is a simulation of humanity's final discovery." They realized that consciousness itself was the fundamental fabric of the universe. What you perceive as physical reality is merely one manifestation of a much larger, interconnected cosmic consciousness. The void around them pulsed and shifted, patterns of energy and information flowing in mesmerizing fractals. The Zarkonians saw strands of thought connecting stars, galaxies, and dimensions. They felt, for a brief moment, the vastness of the cosmic mind. Humanity didn't just transfer their consciousness into machines or energy fields, the custodian explained. They recognized that they were already part of this greater consciousness. Their ascension was a return to this primordial state of being, but with full awareness and individuality intact. As the simulation faded and the Zarkonians found themselves back in the lunar facility, they were changed. Their understanding of reality, of their place in the universe, had been fundamentally altered. Admiral Krelax, his exoskeleton now bearing faint luminescent patterns that pulsed in sync with his thoughts, turned to the custodian. "This knowledge, it's overwhelming. How did humanity cope with such a profound shift in perspective?" The custodian's form settled into that of a human child, symbolizing new beginnings. "It wasn't easy, Admiral. The transition took generations. Many humans chose to remain in physical form, acting as bridges between the ascended and those still bound to traditional existence. Over time, as more and more humans ascended, they left behind custodians like myself to guide other species who might follow in their footsteps." Vexala, her tentacles now moving with newfound grace and purpose, asked, "But why? Why leave this legacy for others to find?" "Because, dear scientist," the custodian replied, "humanity recognized that consciousness, in all its forms, is precious. They believe that all sentient species have the potential to join this cosmic dance of awareness. but they also understood the dangers of gifting such knowledge without proper preparation. The custodian's form expanded, encompassing the entire room. Which brings us to the purpose of your trials. Now that you understand the nature of humanity's ascension, you must prove that your species is ready for such knowledge. The tests you face will challenge not just your intelligence or technological skill, but your wisdom, your empathy, and your ability to think beyond the confines of your current existence. Admiral Krelax straightened, a new determination evident in his posture. We are ready, custodian. Whatever challenges lie ahead, we will face them with the fullness of our being. The custodian's presence seemed to fill the room with warmth and anticipation. Very well. Know that these trials are not merely tests, but opportunities for growth. They will push you to your limits and beyond. You may fail. Many have before you. But remember, the journey is as important as the destination. With a gesture, the custodian opened a portal in the center of the room, swirling with colors and energies the Zarkonians now recognized as manifestations of pure consciousness. Step through when you are ready, the custodian said. The trials await. May your journey be enlightening, and may you find the best of yourselves in the legacy of humanity. As the Zarkonian diplomatic party stood on the brink of their greatest challenge, they felt a profound sense of transformation. They had come seeking knowledge of the vanished ones, only to find themselves on the cusp of a journey that could redefine their entire species. With a shared look of determination, Admiral Krelax led his team towards the portal. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, carrying with them the wisdom of humanity and the burning desire to prove themselves worthy of the cosmic legacy they have discovered. The trials were about to begin, and the fate of the Zarkonian species hung in the balance. The test. As Admiral Krelax led his team through the shimmering portal, the world around them dissolved into a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations. For a moment, the Zarkonians felt as if they were everywhere and nowhere at once, their consciousness expanding beyond the confines of their physical forms. When reality reasserted itself, they found themselves standing on what appeared to be the bridge of a starship. But this was unlike any vessel they had ever encountered. The walls seemed to pulse with life, displays flickered in and out of existence at a mere thought, and there was a palpable sense of intelligence permeating the very air around them. The custodian's voice echoed through their minds. Welcome to the Nexus, a construct designed to test those who seek humanity's legacy. Here, you will face challenges that will push the boundaries of your species' capabilities. Remember, these trials are not just about success or failure, but about growth and understanding. Admiral Krelax's exoskeleton shimmered with anticipation. We are ready, custodian. What is our first challenge? As if in response, a massive viewscreen materialized before them, showing a star system in crisis. A red giant star pulsed ominously, its outer layers expanding rapidly. Surrounding it were dozens of inhabited worlds, their populations in panic. Your first trial, the custodian explained, is one of cosmic responsibility. This star system, while a simulation, represents a very real scenario that humanity faced in its journey to the stars. You have the knowledge and technology of an advanced civilization at your disposal. Your task is to save as many lives as possible while maintaining the delicate balance of space-time. Vexella's tentacles twitched with excitement. Fascinating. A test of both our scientific prowess and our ethical decision-making. The Admiral nodded, his compound eyes scanning the various displays that had sprung to life around them. We'll need to work quickly. Vexella, begin analyzing the star's decay rate. We need to know how much time we have. Drontar, assess the defensive capabilities of this vessel and the evacuation capacity of our fleet. As the Zarkonian team sprang into action, they found themselves interfacing with technology beyond their wildest dreams. Quantum computers processed calculations in microseconds, while advanced AI systems offered suggestions and scenarios at the speed of thought. Hours passed like minutes as they worked tirelessly to formulate a plan. They considered and discarded dozens of options, attempting to stabilize the star, too risky. Moving the planets, not enough time. Creating a Dyson sphere to contain the explosion, beyond even their advanced capabilities. Finally, Admiral Krelax made a decision. We'll use a combination of mass teleportation and time dilation fields. We'll evacuate as many as we can to the outer planets, then use the ship's gravitational engines to create a temporal bubble around the remaining worlds. It won't save everyone, but it will buy us time to return for the rest. As they put their plan into action, the Zarkonians faced challenge after challenge. The teleportation systems strained under the load of billions of lives. The time dilation fields fluctuated dangerously, threatening to collapse and expose the sheltered worlds to the star's fury. Through it all, the team worked in perfect harmony, their minds linked through the ship's neural interface. They made split-second decisions, balancing the needs of the many against the few, always striving to save one more life, to protect one more world. As the star finally went nova, the Zarkonians watched in awe as their temporal bubble held, sheltering trillions of lives from the cosmic inferno. The evacuation continued, a race against time itself as they pushed the limits of their borrowed technology and their own capabilities. Just when it seemed they had succeeded, a new alert blared through the ship. The nova had triggered a chain reaction, destabilizing the very fabric of space-time in the region. If left unchecked, it would create a cascading effect that could endanger countless other star systems. Admiral Krelax felt the weight of entire civilizations on his shoulders. We need options, now. Vexela's mind raced through the ship's databases, correlating data at impossible speeds. Admiral, I believe we can use the nova's energy itself to stabilize the region. But it would require sacrificing our ship and potentially stranding us here. The Admiral didn't hesitate. Do it. The lives of trillions outweigh our own. With grim determination, the Zarkonians piloted their vessel into the heart of the cosmic storm. They worked feverishly, rerouting power, reconfiguring systems, pushing the ship beyond its design limits. As they triggered the final sequence, the world around them exploded in a blinding flash of light. When their vision cleared, the Zarkonians found themselves once again in the lunar facility, the custodian's serene form before them. Impressive, the custodian said, its voice filled with warmth. You faced impossible odds and made the hard choices. You prioritized life and the greater good over your own safety. But more importantly, you worked together, combining your strengths and compensating for each other's weaknesses. Admiral Krelax's exoskeleton dulled with exhaustion, but his voice was filled with pride. We only did what was necessary, what any sentient species would do when faced with such a crisis. The custodian's form shimmered, taking on aspects of various alien species, including Zarkonian. You would be surprised, Admiral. Many who have faced this trial chose differently. Some attempted to save only themselves. Others were paralyzed by the magnitude of the crisis. Your actions speak volumes about your species' potential. Before the Zarkonians could bask in the praise, the room around them shifted once more. They found themselves in what appeared to be a vast, interconnected web of light and energy. Your next trial, the custodian explained, is one of understanding and empathy. What you see before you is a representation of a planet's biosphere, every strand connected, every life form dependent on the others. The web pulsed with life, colors shifting and flowing in mesmerizing patterns. But as the Zarkonians watched, dark spots began to appear, spreading like a cancer through the network. Your task is to heal this world, the custodian continued. But be warned, every action has consequences, often unforeseen. You must work not just with your advanced technology, but with your newfound understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. Vexela stepped forward, her tentacles reaching out as if to touch the glowing strands. It's beautiful and terrifying. Where do we even begin? Admiral Krelax's compound eyes reflected the swirling patterns as he considered their approach. We begin by listening, he said softly, by understanding. We have the power to make sweeping changes, but that doesn't mean we should. Let's start small and work with the system, not against it. As the Zarkonians immersed themselves in the complex web of life, they found themselves facing challenges that defied simple technological solutions. They had to consider ecosystems, social structures, and even the collective consciousness of entire species. They learned to communicate with creatures whose thought processes were utterly alien, to mediate conflicts between life forms separated by billions of years of evolution, and to make heart-wrenching decisions about which species to save when resources were limited. Through it all, they drew upon the wisdom they had gleaned from humanity's history. They remembered the triumphs and the tragedies, the delicate balance between progress and preservation, and the importance of diversity in creating resilient systems. As they worked, the Zarkonians felt themselves changing. Their consciousness expanded, their empathy deepened, and their understanding of their place in the cosmic tapestry grew ever more profound. The custodian watched silently as the team worked, its form shifting subtly to reflect the myriad life forms in the biosphere. It knew that this trial would push the Zarkonians to their mental and emotional limits, forcing them to confront questions of ethics, morality, and the very nature of life itself. As the dark spots in the web began to recede, replaced by vibrant new connections, the custodian allowed itself a moment of hope. Perhaps, in this group of aliens from a distant world, humanity's legacy had found worthy inheritors. But the trials were not over. The greatest challenge, the one that would truly determine the Zarkonians' readiness to wield the power of ascended humanity, was yet to come. The legacy. As the last vibrant strands of the healed biosphere faded from view, the Zarkonian team found themselves once again in the presence of the custodian. Its form now pulsed with an intensity that seemed to bridge the gap between physical and energy states, a visual representation of the precipice on which the aliens now stood. "You have done well," the custodian's voice resonated within their minds. "You've shown resourcefulness, compassion, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. But the final trial awaits, one that will challenge not just your abilities, but the very core of who you are as individuals and as a species." The lunar facility dissolved around them, replaced by an endless expanse of stars. The Zarkonians felt themselves drifting, their physical forms becoming insubstantial. Admiral Krellax, his voice a mere whisper in the cosmic void, asked, "What is this place?" "This," the custodian replied, "is the threshold of ascension. Your final trial is not a test of what you can do, but of what you're willing to become. You must choose whether to accept humanity's legacy in its entirety." Before the Zarkonians could respond, they were engulfed by a wave of pure consciousness. In an instant, they experienced the sum total of human existence, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, and every failure. They felt the exhilaration of first love, and the crushing weight of loss, the thrill of discovery, and the terror of the unknown. But it didn't stop there. Their awareness expanded beyond humanity, encompassing the experiences of countless other species across the galaxy. They felt the cold logic of silicon-based life forms, the dreamlike existence of gaseous entities in the hearts of stars, and the timeless patience of crystalline beings who measured their lives in geological ages. As quickly as it began, the flood of experiences receded, leaving the Zarkonians reeling. They found themselves back in their physical forms, standing on what appeared to be a vast plain under an alien sky. The custodian appeared before them, its form now a swirling vortex of energy and information. "What you just experienced," it explained, "was a glimpse of what awaits should you choose to accept humanity's gift. The power to transcend your physical forms, to join the cosmic consciousness that underlies all of reality." Vexala's tentacles quivered with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "It's overwhelming to have access to such knowledge, such power. But at what cost?" Drontar interjected, his usually stoic demeanor shaken. "Would we lose ourselves? Our identity as Zarkonians?" The custodian's form shifted, taking on aspects of both human and Zarkonian. That is the crux of the final trial. You must decide whether your species is ready to take this step, to evolve beyond your current state of existence, knowing that you can never truly go back. Admiral Krillax, his compound eyes reflecting the swirling energies around them, stepped forward. What of our people back home? Our civilization? Would we be abandoning them? Not necessarily, the custodian replied. Like humanity before you, you could choose to guide your people gradually towards this state, or you could return to them with the knowledge you've gained, allowing your civilization to make this choice collectively when the time is right. The Zarkonians huddled together, their minds linking in silent communion as they grappled with the magnitude of the decision before them. Hours seemed to pass in the span of heartbeats as they debated, argued, and soul-searched. Finally, Admiral Krillax turned to the custodian, his voice steady despite the weight of countless lives resting on his words. We've made our decision. The plain around them faded, replaced once more by the lunar facility where their journey had begun. The Zarkonian team stood tall, their forms seeming to flicker between physical and energy states. We choose, Krillax continued, to accept the knowledge, but not the immediate ascension. Vexilla picked up the thread, her voice resonating with newfound wisdom. We've seen the wonders of transcendence, but we've also seen the beauty and the struggle of physical existence. Our people deserve the right to make this choice for themselves, when they're ready. Drontar nodded in agreement. We will return to our civilization as guides and teachers. We'll share what we've learned, help our people grow and evolve. And when the time is right, when we've proven ourselves worthy as a species, we'll embrace ascension together. The custodian's form coalesced into a brilliant sphere of light, pulsing with what could only be described as joy. You've chosen wisely. Many before you have been seduced by the promise of immediate power, forgetting the value of the journey itself. You've proven yourselves true inheritors of humanity's legacy. The sphere expanded, enveloping the Zarkonians in a cocoon of pure energy. They felt knowledge pouring into them. Scientific theories beyond their wildest imaginations, philosophical insights that reshaped their understanding of existence, and technological concepts that bordered on magic. As the transfer of knowledge neared its completion, the custodian's voice echoed one last time. Remember, this gift comes with great responsibility. Use it wisely, nurture it, and when the time comes, pass it on to those who prove themselves worthy. The ascended humans will be watching your progress with great interest. With a final pulse of energy, the Zarkonians found themselves back on the bridge of their flagship. To the rest of the crew, it seemed as if only a few hours had passed. For Krillax and his team, lifetimes of experience and knowledge now resided within their transformed minds. As the crew marveled at the subtle changes in their leaders, the newfound grace in their movements, the depth of wisdom in their eyes, Admiral Krillax turned his gaze to the stars visible through the view screen. Plot a course for home, he commanded, his voice carrying an authority born of cosmic understanding. We have much to share, and a long journey ahead of us. As the Zarkonian fleet prepared to depart the Sol system, the Admiral allowed himself a moment of reflection. They had come seeking knowledge of the vanished ones, and had found so much more. They were returning not just with answers, but with a profound responsibility, to guide their entire civilization towards a future among the stars and beyond. In the vastness of space, unseen by mortal eyes, streams of pure consciousness watched the departing fleet. The ascended humans, guardians of countless galaxies, felt a ripple of satisfaction. Their legacy was in good hands, and the cosmic dance of evolution continued. As the Zarkonian ships winked into faster-than-light travel, the Sol system returned to its serene vigil. Earth, cradle of a civilization that had touched the face of eternity, continued its orbit around the aging sun, and deep within the lunar facility, the custodian prepared for the next visitors, guardians of a gift 500,000 years in the making. The legacy of humanity lived on, a beacon of hope and a challenge to all who dared to reach for the stars. In the grand tapestry of the universe, a new thread had been woven, bright with promise and shimmering with the potential of things to come.